There is something deeply satisfying about watching a large number sit in a savings account. Every month, the deposit hits. Not because you worked extra hours, not because you sold anything, not because you took a single risk. So when you finally have a real amount of money, earning a real interest rate, you feel like you cracked the code. And then one afternoon, you sit down and actually do the math. Not the surface math the bank shows you. The real math. After taxes, after inflation, after watching the rate quietly drop 3 times in 18 months, suddenly, the thing that felt like smart money management starts to feel like something else entirely. The Federal Reserve had been hiking its benchmark rate aggressively since early 2022, and by late 2023, high-yield savings accounts were offering something almost unbelievable: 4.5, even 5% annual percentage yields. If you had been keeping your savings at a traditional bank, you were probably earning 0.01%. That is not a competitive rate. That is a rounding error. At 5%, that same $10,000 earned $500 in a year. At 0.01%, it earned $1. Same money, same period, same risk level. People moved millions of them. They opened accounts at online banks most of them had never heard of before. SoFi, Ally, Marcus, Wealthfront. The thing about $50,000 at 5% is that it earns $2,500 in a year. No spreadsheets, no market timing, no anxiety. Just a balance that ticked upward every single month. Interest income from a high-yield savings account is taxed as ordinary income, not at the lower capital gains rate. The same rate as your salary. If you are in the 22% federal tax bracket, you owe 22 cents on every dollar of interest your savings account generates. After a combined federal and state effective tax rate of around 25%, you are keeping roughly $1,875, not $2,500, not even $2,000. Inflation during 2023 and into 2024 ran between 3 and 4%. The purchasing power of your balance may not be growing as fast as the numbers suggest. If your account pays 5% and inflation runs at 2.7%, your real return before taxes is only about 2.3%. Apply a tax rate, and you're capturing closer to 1.5 to 1.8% in genuine gains. In 2023 alone, the S&P 500 returned over 26%. If you had $50,000 invested in a broad index fund instead of parked in a savings account, you would have ended with somewhere around $63,000. That is a $10,500 difference in a single calendar year between two decisions that both felt responsible at the time. This is what financial analysts call opportunity cost. And it is the most expensive invisible fee in personal finance. It never shows up on a statement. After 30 years, the savings account balance grows to roughly $64,800. The same $20,000 invested grows to approximately $348,000. A gap of nearly $284,000. Nobody chooses to leave $284,000 on the table, but millions of people do it anyway. One comfortable savings account balance at a time. The high-yield savings account was never the wrong tool. I had it in the wrong role. A savings account is designed to protect money you might need soon. It is liquid. FDIC insured up to $250,000. It earns a return without any downside risk. For near-term cash, nothing does that job better. Most people maintain large balances in savings accounts, not because they need all that money liquid within 60 days, but because the account feels safe. The number looks impressive on the screen. When the Federal Reserve started cutting rates in late 2024, accounts that had been earning 5% dropped to 4.5, then to 4, then to 3.5%. By early 2026, best rates settled around 4%. Unlike an index fund, which grows because the underlying companies generate real revenue, develop real products, and compound real profits. A savings account rate is simply whatever a bank decides to offer you today. The 5% that felt like a new normal in 2023 was a product of a specific Fed policy window. That window partially closed. The market's 10% historical average has outlasted every interest rate cycle in American history. The emergency fund rule exists for a reason, and that reason has a specific size: 3 to 6 months of actual living expenses. Once you have that covered, extra cash above that threshold has a time horizon that belongs. The feeling of financial safety and the reality of financial progress are two separate things. A large number in a savings account produces comfort. But the question worth asking is not whether your money is safe. It is whether it is working as hard as your future is going to need it to.